Discretion is advised.
He's a good boy, as far as I know.
This is the video that in hours went viral. We can only show you a clip because it's just too graphic. The acts committed in public in a courthouse hallway are now being investigated by JSO's Integrity Unit. The graphic video was posted by this woman. We're not giving her name or showing the video in full, but it shows the two having sex on the 4th floor of the Duval County Courthouse. Hours later, the woman posted the video on both Facebook and Twitter with the caption, "I just found a way to get out of trouble." This police report shows she was at the courthouse facing marijuana drug charges from January 19th of this year. I did some digging and found this 2009 police report that says she threatened a 10-year-old when he accidentally knocked her son down. The report quotes her as saying she would cut him with a knife in her hand. I stopped by multiple addresses and could not find her. JSO tells me there could be charges.
Brown was sentenced to 115 years, but 106 of those were suspended because he pled guilty to a host of felony charges early this morning here at the John Marshall Courts building. As Candace mentioned, he will serve 9 years behind bars. Officials say that those assaults happened off Jank Road at neighborhoods there, 6 different homes to 6 different women. Police say that Brown would break into the homes early in the morning. He would then either expose himself or grope the women who were living there. Back when this happened in fall of last year, we spoke with one of the victims. She told us that she woke up to some rustling inside of her house, and then Brown was standing there in all black. She says that he touched her, and then when she screamed, he ran out of her home immediately. We also know that prior to these most recent incidents off Jank Road, Brown served time for allegedly peeping into windows at a West End apartment complex. For the charges that he faced and that he was convicted on early this morning, prosecutors tell us that after he serves those 9 years, Brown will have to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life. As for the women who were his victims in this case, prosecutors tell us really all they wanted was justice.
A Hope County man is in jail awaiting his first court appearance on kidnapping charges.
Authorities say he had a woman chained up in his shed. CBS North Carolina's Lauren Havlin joins us live from the sheriff's office with the latest on this case. Good morning.
Good morning to you. This morning, investigators are still trying to determine how long the victim was held against her will and whether or not she knows the suspect. According to Hope County deputies, they responded to a disturbance call in the 200 block of Quick Wilkerson Road in Rayford. Deputies there say they heard a commotion coming from a shed behind the home. When they looked inside, they found a woman tied up with rope and chains. Investigators say she told them she was there held against her will. 52-year-old Gary McNair was arrested at the scene and is charged with second-degree kidnapping. McNair's mother told CBS North Carolina she was the one to call 911 after hearing a noise coming from her back porch.
So I didn't know what to do. I here by myself, and my gun was loaded. I told the police my gun was loaded because I didn't know what was going on out there. He's a good boy, as far as I know.
And Gary McNair will be in a Hope County courtroom later today. Of course, we'll update you on that once we learn what happens there. And we're still trying to determine and find out how the victim is doing this morning. Live in Rayford, Lauren Havlin, CBS North Carolina.
A softball coach at Gilbert Junior High School is accused of sexually abusing a 14-year-old girl. Police arrested 23-year-old Jael Serta.
Breaking news comes from Henrico, where we are learning more about the Glen Allen man arrested during a sting operation looking for child sex predators. Good evening, everyone. I'm Candace Burns.
And I'm Bill Fitzgerald. CBS 6 has learned the man worked at a local private Christian school. 64-year-old Reginald Johnson was arrested in the sting in Spotsylvania. Investigators say Johnson believed he was going to meet a 13-year-old girl for a sexual encounter. The Grove Avenue Baptist Church and Christian School confirms Johnson was employed for 4 months by a custodial service which cleaned the church. They don't believe Johnson had contact with children during his time working there. Johnson's charged with indecent liberties and electronic solicitation of a minor.
Now at 5:30, a former NBA player accused of foul play and creating fear in some South Florida women. Hello and good evening. He's being accused of being a bedroom intruder.
Police say he broke into a couple's home. In one case, even making his way to the bedroom where a woman was fast asleep. 7's Brandon Byer live at the Broward County Jail where the suspect is being held behind bars, and he's going to pick up the story from here. Brandon?
Yeah, Lynn, from the basketball court to the courtroom, a former pro is in some trouble after being accused of some shady behavior.
That one's going to be stolen away. Get out your cameras and flash bulbs. Here's Orion Green.
Not long ago, 34-year-old Orion Green was a promising professional basketball player. Drafted in the second round back in 2005, the former Florida Gator spent time with the Boston Celtics. Now he's spending time in the Broward County Jail.
Green, you're charged with 6 counts versus a battery in the second.
Police say Green walked into not one, but 2 Pembroke Pines homes Monday, in each house touching a woman as she slept. When the second woman cried out, police say Green ran to his girlfriend's house, who lives in the same neighborhood. Neighbors are stunned.
Oh my God, we haven't heard about that. It's ridiculous because I feel bad because we even pay for our guards and everything. I'm sorry to say that, but if it's like that, how can we feel safe anymore?
When police confronted Green, they say he admitted to the crimes. Tuesday, a judge set his bond and ordered him to have no contact with either alleged victim when he does get out of jail. And when he is released, Green will be required to wear an ankle monitor. Reporting live in downtown Fort Lauderdale, Brandon Byer.
Knelt down then and began to suck on her toes.
Yeah, you heard that right. It's what police say happened in public at the Franklin Park Mall. Now they want more potential victims to step forward. It's a bizarre story that has some of us doing something of a double take, but police say they're taking it very seriously. A teenager gets targeted while working at a store at the mall. The man in question ended up getting his hands on his hands and feet and then sucking on her toes. Michelle Zapata spoke exclusively with the victim's mother, now on a crusade to make sure that this never happens to anyone else.
What happened to Melissa Portella's daughter after working here was traumatic. But after she took to Facebook to warn others, she says more women came forward, explaining their run-ins with this same man. And what happened to them was far worse. Just before Christmas, Melissa Portella's 18-year-old daughter called her and asked her to listen to her whole story without saying a word.
I was stunned, completely stunned.
It was this man, Joseph Jones, described as a well-dressed, engaging man who complimented the teen on her shoes.
He asked to see her shoes because he said he liked her shoes.
And then subsequently ended up sucking her toes and her foot.
Portella got her daughter to file a police report, but still decided others needed to be warned.
His MO is to watch women at retail.
She printed these flyers and began passing them out to managers at stores in the mall to warn them about what police say this man did to her daughter.
I have a responsibility as a mother, and I also feel a responsibility for the other women.
But Melissa was asked to stop by mall security.
No matter how good your intentions are, you still have to obey somebody's wishes on private property.
And she didn't.
And I flippantly said, well, you're going to have to arrest me to stop me from warning these women.
They did, though a minor setback in her mission, then a victory. Police were able to catch up to Jones and arrest him, and they believe he may be linked to at least one other similar incident.
Right now, certainly his behavior could be considered odd. I'm sure that to his victims, concerning. So for that reason, we want to make sure that we got him into custody.
And like police suspect, Melissa tells me she knows he has other victims out there. A post on her Facebook page has flooded her page with comments and private messages.
With absolutely horrific stories. And I knew that this man was escalating his dangerous behavior. I could not keep silent.
Joseph Jones is now out of jail and back on the streets after posting bond. Melissa Portella does believe that he can remain behind bars, but only if women have the courage to come forward and report their situation to police rather than just on Facebook. Reporting tonight, Michelle Zepeda, WTOL 11.
And that breaking news is out of Henrico County, where police say a local soldier's been arrested for rape. I'm Bill Fitzgerald.
I'm Candace Burns, and our Melissa Hippolyte is live outside the county jail tonight. Melissa, what can you tell us about this case?
Well, Candace, Travis Godfrey is here at the Henrico County Jail tonight. This is about 36 miles from Fort Lee, where Godfrey lives and works as a soldier. Henrico police say they responded to a report of a sexual assault in the 4400 block of Sprinkle Lane. That's off Staples Mill Road and not far from the Henrico County Jail. That visit resulted in the police charging 24-year-old Travis Jermaine Godfrey on Thursday with rape. We've learned Godfrey is a soldier stationed at Fort Lee. A spokesperson there confirmed he is a private first class with the Headquarters 832 Ordnance Battalion. Now, we asked Godfrey for a jailhouse interview, but he declined our request. Working for you tonight in Henrico County, I'm Melissa Hippolyte for CBS.
All new at 5, a local police officer is accused of pulling down his pants and exposing himself to a woman.
Captain Michael Lynch is now on leave while the SBI investigates. Eyewitness News reporter Ken Lemon is live outside the Dallas Police Department with more on the allegations.
Yeah, Lynch had this criminal summons delivered to him. It means that he doesn't have to show up here. This is the Gaston County Jail. To get mugshot, to get processed here because it is a misdemeanor charge, but it could be enough to remove him from the force.
In reference to the warrant service.
Captain Michael Lynch was second in command at the Dallas Police Department. Now his career in law enforcement is in jeopardy after an incident in October at this medical facility on South New Hope Road, just outside of the Gastonia city limits. According to a criminal summons, a woman told police Lynch pulled down his jogging pants, exposing himself to her. Gaston County police were called once they realized the accusations were against an officer who used to work for them. They asked the SBI to investigate.
And check other areas to see.
Dallas police put Lynch on paid administrative leave in late November during that investigation. The SBI gave a report to the Gaston County District Attorney. He decided to charge Lynch with misdemeanor indecent exposure. And the DA says the SBI is still working on a detailed report. The chief of the Dallas Police Department says the outcome of that report will decide if Lynch remains on paid leave. Live in Gastonia, I'm Ken Lemon, Channel 9.
An airline contract worker is facing charges, accused of exposing himself to a 16-year-old girl at Charlotte's airport. At 5, we told you Oliver Webb worked for a company that escorts passengers, including unaccompanied minors. Noon 11, Eyewitness News reporter Elsa Gillis learned the teenager was scheduled to fly on an American Airlines flight.
Airline officials tell me as soon as they learned about what happened, a manager stepped in to help and stayed in communication with her parents until she got on the plane safely.
People trust, and then something like that is just horrible.
Travelers at Charlotte Douglas Airport were disgusted to learn a person trusted with helping young children and the elderly is accused of doing something so disturbing.
Terrible.
Early Sunday morning, Charlotte-Mecklenburg police arrested 21-year-old Oliver Webb for exposing himself at the airport. Airport sources tell Channel 9 Webb is an employee with Prospect Air, a service that helps escort passengers, including minors traveling alone. Those sources tell us Webb exposed himself to a 16-year-old girl.
It breaks my heart. Something like that would happen to a 16-year-old.
We took the allegations to Prospect Air, who told us the company is aware of the very serious allegation involving one of its employees, saying Prospect does not tolerate any behavior or activity that endangers passenger safety. American Airlines told me the teen's flight was canceled, and being a minor, she needed help booking a hotel room. That's when the alleged incident happened. Airline officials say the teen texted her parents immediately, who contacted police and the airport. American Airlines says the manager stepped in right away to take care of the young girl.
I think they did the right thing. Something like that can't happen to the elderly or our teenagers.
Webb is charged with indecent exposure. Prospect would not confirm his employment status or detail their screening or training process for their employees.
News.